When I lost my job and had nothing left, my best friend stabbed me in the back and took everything I built. I stayed silent until the day I walked back into his office and took it all back in front of everyone. I still remember the exact moment my life fell apart. Not slowly, not over time. In one single sentence. You're being let go. That was it. No warning, no second chance, no explanation that made sense. Just gone. 10 years. Gone in 10 seconds. I sat there in that office, staring at my manager like I was waiting for him to say it was a joke. He didn't. He couldn't even look me in the eyes. Budget cuts, he said. I nodded, not because I understood, but because I didn't know what else to do. Because when your entire life is built around something, and it disappears, you don't react. You just freeze. I walked out of that building carrying a small box, a coffee mug, a framed photo, a few papers. That's all 10 years of my life came down to. Outside, the world looked exactly the same. Cars passing, people walking, noise, movement. But for me, everything had stopped. I didn't call anyone, didn't tell my family, didn't even tell her. The only person I called was him, Ryan, my best friend. The one person I trusted more than anyone. He picked up on the second ring. Yo, what's up? I didn't speak for a second. Then I said it. I lost my job. Silence. Then, wait, what? I explained everything, short, simple, and without hesitation. He said something I'll never forget. Come to my office. That's how it started. Ryan and I had built things together before. Back in college, small projects, ideas, late-night plans that never went anywhere, but felt like they could. He was always the loud one, confident, vision-driven, the guy who could sell anything. I was the opposite, quiet, technical, the one who actually built things. We worked well together, at least. I thought we did. When I walked into his office that day, it felt different from the last time I had seen him. Bigger space, more people, more energy. His startup had grown. A lot. Bro, he said, standing up and pulling me into a quick hug. Don't even stress. This might be the best thing that ever happened to you. I gave a small smile. Yeah, I said. Doesn't feel like it. He laughed. Trust me. Then he leaned forward, lowered his voice slightly. I've been working on something big. That sentence changed everything, because I believed him. We sat down, and for the next hour, he talked about the idea, the vision, the future. A platform, a system, something scalable, something powerful. And the more he spoke, the more I realized something. He had the idea, but he didn't have the system. Not yet. And that's where I came in. I need someone I trust, he said. That word, trust, hit me harder than anything else. Because at that moment, I needed that more than money, more than stability. I needed to feel like I still mattered. I'm in, I said. Just like that. No contract, no formal agreement, no protection. Just trust. That was my first mistake. The next few months were the hardest I had ever worked in my life. No salary, no security, no guarantee. Just long nights, empty savings, and belief. I built everything. The back end, the infrastructure, the systems that made his vision actually work. Line by line, hour by hour, day after day. While he pitched, while he networked, while he became the face of something, I was quietly building. And honestly, I didn't mind. Because I believed in it. I believed in us. That's what makes betrayal dangerous. It doesn't come from enemies. It comes from people you trust enough to build with. The first sign something was wrong was small. Too small to notice at first. A meeting I wasn't invited to. Then another. Then decisions being made. Without me. I asked about it once. Ryan smiled. Just investor stuff. You wouldn't be interested. I nodded. Because I trusted him. That was my second mistake. Weeks later, things started moving fast. Funding came in. Big funding. The office expanded. New hires. New energy. And suddenly, everything we built was becoming real. But I noticed something else too. My role was getting smaller. Not officially, but practically. Less communication, less involvement, less visibility. Like I was slowly being phased out. I ignored it, because I told myself it was just growth, just change, just business. Until the day everything changed again. Another meeting, but this time, I was called in. Ryan was sitting there, not alone. 2 other people. Legal. That's when I felt it. That same feeling I had the day I lost my job. Something wasn't right. Hey, he said casually. Too casually. We need to talk. I sat down slowly. What's going on? He leaned back, took a breath, and then he said it. We're restructuring the company. That word again, restructuring. Funny how that word always shows up right before something gets taken from you. We're bringing in new leadership, he continued. More experienced. More experienced. I stared at him. Okay. And your role? He paused. Then, looked me straight in the eyes. Is no longer needed. Silence. Complete silence. Because I wasn't just losing a job this time. I was losing something I built. Something I created from nothing. Something I gave everything to. And the worst part? I couldn't even argue. Because there was nothing in writing. No contract. No ownership. No protection. Just trust. And trust doesn't hold up in court. I didn't react. Not the way he expected. No shouting. No anger. No scene. Just silence. Because in that moment, I understood something most people don't. When someone betrays you like that, they're waiting for you to explode. They want it. Because it justifies what they did. Makes you look emotional, unstable, replaceable. So I didn't give him that. I just sat there, looking at him. Ryan, my best friend. The guy the first trusted with everything. And now, the same guy sitting across from me, telling me I was no longer needed. I'll need you to sign this, one of the legal guys said, sliding papers across the table. I didn't even look at them. What is it? I asked calmly. Standard exit agreement, he replied. Exit. Funny word. Because it sounded clean. Simple, professional. But what it really meant was, you're done. I picked up the papers slowly. Read the first page, then the second, And that's when it hit me. They weren't just removing me, they were erasing me. No mention of my contribution, no ownership, no credit, nothing. Just a clean break, like I was never part of it. I looked up. You built this? I asked quietly. Ryan didn't answer immediately. Then he said, we built it. Built. Past tense, like I was already out of the picture. I nodded slowly, then placed the papers back on the table. I'll think about it, I said. The legal guy frowned slightly. It's standard, he said. I still need to think, I repeated. Ryan leaned forward. Don't make this difficult, he said quietly. There it was. The shift. From friend to someone else entirely. I stood up. I'm not, I said, and walked out. That walk was different from the one after I lost my job. Because this time, I wasn't confused. I wasn't shocked. I was aware, completely aware of what just happened. And that awareness is dangerous. I went home, sat in silence. No TV, no phone. Just thinking, replaying everything. Every conversation, every decision, every moment I ignored something because I trusted him. And slowly, a pattern started to form. The meetings I wasn't invited to, the decisions I wasn't included in, the way things shifted right before funding came in. It wasn't sudden. It was planned. That realization hit harder than the betrayal itself. Because betrayal and anger is one thing, but betrayal that's calculated? That's something else. I picked up my laptop, opened the system I built, and that's when I realized something else. Something he didn't think about. Or maybe, something he didn't understand. He had the company, the office, the investors, the brand. But I had something he didn't. I had the foundation. Every line of code, every structure, every system architecture decision was mine. And more importantly, I knew it better than anyone. That's when the anger disappeared. Not slowly. Instantly. Because anger clouds judgment. But clarity? Clarity builds strategy. I didn't call him. Didn't message. Didn't respond. I went silent. Completely silent. Days passed. Then a week. No contact. But I was working. Quietly. Not on revenge. On understanding. Understanding what I built and what he actually had without me. And the more I looked, the clearer it became. The system wasn't stable. Not without constant oversight. Not without someone who actually understood how everything connected. I had built it fast. Because we needed speed. But fast systems come with hidden complexity. Complexity only the builder truly understands. Which meant one thing. Without me, it would work. For a while. Then, it wouldn't. I leaned back in my chair. For the first time since everything happened, I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because I saw the future. And he didn't. 2 weeks later, I got a message. From someone inside the company. Not someone important, but someone observant. Hey, random question, the message said. Did you build the core system? I paused, then replied, why? There was a delay. Then, something's wrong. I didn't respond immediately. Because this was the moment. Not loud, not dramatic, but important. The moment where everything starts shifting back. I didn't reply to that message right away. Not because I didn't know the answer, but because I knew exactly what was happening. The system was breaking. Not crashing. Not yet. Just breaking. Small errors. Delays. Glitches that didn't make sense. The kind of problems that confuse people, unless they built it. And I built it. I finally replied. What kind of problem? There was a pause. Then the reply came. Random failures. Data not syncing. System lagging under load. I read it twice. Exactly what I expected. Because deep inside that system, there were dependencies. Connections. Processes that looked simple from the outside, but were fragile underneath. Fragile unless you knew how to manage them. And Ryan didn't. I typed one more message. Who's handling backend now? The reply came quickly this time. New team. But they're struggling. Of course they were. Because you can replace a person, but you can't replace understanding overnight. I put my phone down. Didn't say anything else. Because this wasn't my problem anymore. At least, that's what I told myself. But the truth, I was watching, quietly. Days passed. Then another week, and the messages started increasing. More issues. More confusion. More panic. One message stood out. System went down for 12 minutes today. 12 minutes. That might not sound like much, but in a growing company, it's chaos. Lost transactions. Angry users. Frustrated investors. And worst of all, uncertainty. Because once a system fails once, people start asking questions. Questions Ryan couldn't answer. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes for a moment. This wasn't revenge. This was reality catching up. Another message came, this time, from Ryan. Hey, just that. No explanation, no attitude. Just, hey. I stared at it, didn't open it immediately. Because that one word said everything. It wasn't confident anymore. It wasn't in control. It was careful. I finally opened it. Can we talk? I didn't respond. Not yet. Because timing was everything. More time passed. Then another message. It's important. I smiled slightly. Of course it was. Because now, he needed something. And for the first time since everything happened, the power had shifted. I replied 1 hour later. What do you need? The response came almost instantly. There are issues with the system. I didn't react. Fix it, I replied. A pause. Then, it's not that simple. I leaned forward slightly. Of course it wasn't. Because nothing worth building is ever simple. What exactly is happening? I asked. He explained. Poorly. Because he didn't understand it himself. But I did. Every word he said confirmed what I already knew. The system wasn't just glitching. It was destabilizing. And once it reached a certain point, it wouldn't recover easily. Can you take a look? He finally asked. There it was. The moment. Not loud. Not dramatic. But real. The same person who told me I was no longer needed was now asking for help. I didn't answer immediately, because I needed him to feel it. Not pain, not revenge, just reality. What about your new team? I asked. They're trying, he said. Trying, but not succeeding. And the leadership you brought in? No reply. That silence was louder than anything else. Finally, I typed, I'm busy. I put the phone down. And for the first time, I walked away, because sometimes the strongest move is doing nothing. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. Not because I was happy, but because everything was finally aligning. The truth, the consequences, the outcome. And I knew this was only the beginning. By the next morning, everything had changed. Not slowly, not quietly, all at once. My phone started buzzing before I even got out of bed. Messages, missed calls, notifications stacking up one after another. At first I ignored them, because I already knew who they were from. Ryan, his team, people I didn't even recognize, all reaching out at the same time. That only meant one thing. The system didn't just break, it collapsed. I finally picked up my phone, opened one of the messages. System is down. Completely. Another one. Clients are losing access. Another. Investors are asking questions. And then, Ryan's message. Call me, now. No confidence, no attitude, just urgency. I didn't call. Instead, I made coffee, sat down, and read every message slowly. Because this wasn't chaos to me. It was predictable. Every issue they described was something I had already seen coming. Every failure was tied to decisions they made after removing me. Shortcuts, quick fixes, lack of understanding. You can build something fast, but if you don't respect the structure, it falls even faster. My phone rang again. Ryan. This time, I answered. Silence for a second. Then, where have you been? He said. His voice wasn't angry. It was strained, like someone trying to hold everything together while it's already falling apart. I've been around, I said calmly. We have a serious problem, he said quickly. I leaned back. I know. That pause, on the other end, said everything, because he realized something in that moment. I wasn't surprised. Which meant, I understood more than he did. The system is down, he said. I heard. No, you don't get it, he snapped slightly. We're losing clients. Transactions are failing. Everything is breaking, I finished. Silence. Because I didn't need him to explain. I already knew. We need you to come in, he said finally. There it was. Not a suggestion, not an idea, a need. I didn't respond immediately. Because this moment was important. Not for revenge. For balance. What happened to your new team? I asked. They're working on it, he said quickly. But they can't fix it fast enough. Of course they couldn't. Because speed doesn't come from effort. It comes from understanding. And the leadership? Another pause. They're handling the situation, he said. Handling. That word again. People always use that word when they're not in control anymore. I can't just drop everything, I said. That wasn't true. But it needed to be said. Please, he said. That word changed everything. Because I had never heard Ryan say that before. Not to me, not to anyone. And suddenly, all the confidence, all the arrogance, all the control was gone. Replaced by something real. Desperation. I stood up slowly, walked to the window, looked outside. Because this was the moment. The moment where I decide, do I go back, or do I let it fall? What exactly do you want from me? I asked. I need you to fix it, he said immediately. Fix it. Simple words. But heavy. Because fixing it meant stepping back into something that was taken from me. On what terms? I asked calmly. Silence. Because he didn't expect that question. What do you mean? I mean, I said slowly, if I come back, it won't be the same as before. Another pause. What do you want? He asked. Now, the power had fully shifted. I didn't answer immediately, because this wasn't about throwing numbers. This was about something bigger. I'll come in, I said finally. Relief hit his voice instantly. Good, good. Just come now. I'm not finished, I interrupted. Silence. When I walk into that office, I said, it won't be as someone you can replace again. He didn't respond, because he understood. I'll fix the system, I continued. But after that, we're going to have a different conversation. A long pause. Then, okay, just one word. But this time, it wasn't confident. It was acceptance. I ended the call. Got ready. And for the first time since everything happened, I was going back. Not as the same person. Not as the quiet builder in the background. But as the one person they couldn't move forward without. I didn't rush. That was the first thing I changed. Before, I would have run, tried to fix everything immediately. Prove my value. Show them I was needed. But not this time. This time, I walked in slowly. The office looked the same. Same glass walls. Same open floor. Same people. But the energy? Completely different. No confidence. No noise. Just tension. People were whispering, phones in hand, screens open, trying to fix something they didn't understand. And the moment I stepped inside, everything shifted. Not loudly, but noticeably, because people recognized me. Some stood up, some just stared, but everyone knew one thing. I wasn't supposed to be there anymore. Ryan walked out of his office quickly, faster than I had ever seen him move. Hey, he said. But this time, he didn't smile. He looked tired. Not physically, mentally, like someone holding a collapsing structure together with nothing but pressure. You came, he said. I nodded. Show me the system. No small talk, no fake friendliness. Just straight to the point, because this wasn't about us anymore. This was about control. He led me inside. The main screen was filled with alerts. Errors, failures, red everywhere. I didn't react. I just sat down, opened the back end, started reading. Silence filled the room, because everyone was watching now. Not talking, not moving, just waiting. I moved through the system slowly, not rushing, not panicking, because I knew something they didn't. The system wasn't broken. It was mismanaged. There's a difference. Broken means you rebuild. Mismanaged means you fix the decisions. And I could see them clearly. Shortcuts, temporary patches, changes made without understanding the full structure. Each one small, but together, they created chaos. Stop everything, I said finally. No one moved. I said stop, this time. They listened, because my voice wasn't quiet anymore. It wasn't asking. It was directing. The room froze. I stood up slowly, walked to the board, and started explaining. Not loudly, not emotionally, just clearly. This part fails because you changed the dependency, I said. This breaks because you removed a safeguard you didn't understand. And this. I paused. This is what caused everything to collapse. Silence. Because for the first time, they saw it. Not the problem. The truth. Ryan stood there, not saying a word. Because now, he wasn't the one explaining anymore. He was listening. I turned back to the system. Give me control access, I said. No hesitation this time. He nodded immediately. Within minutes, I was inside everything. Full control. And slowly, very slowly, I started fixing it. Not rushing. Because speed breaks things again. Precision fixes them. One change. Then another. Then another. Errors started disappearing. Red turned into yellow. Then green. The system stabilized. Not perfectly, but enough. Enough to stop the collapse. Enough to bring it back from the edge. The room stayed silent the entire time, because everyone knew what they were watching. Not just someone fixing a system, someone taking control back. After an hour, I leaned back. It's stable for now, I said. No applause, no cheering, just relief. Real relief? Ryan walked toward me slowly. Thank you, he said. I looked at him. This time, I didn't stay silent. We need to talk, I said. The room felt it immediately, because this wasn't over, not even close. We walked into his office, closed the door, and for the first time, there were no roles. No CEO, no employee. Just two people, standing on opposite sides of the same truth. You know what this is, I said calmly. He nodded. I made a mistake. Mistake. I shook my head slightly. No, I said. That wasn't a mistake. That was a decision. Silence. Because he knew I was right. You didn't just remove me, I continued. You erased me. No defense this time. No excuses. Because there weren't any left. I built this, I said quietly. And you know it. He nodded again, slowly. What do you want, he asked. There it was. The same question from before. But now, it meant something different. Because now, I had proof. Not just words. Not just claims. Reality. I don't want your company, I said. He looked surprised. I want what's mine. Silence. Then, which is? I looked at him directly. My share. My credit. My control. 3 things. Simple, but powerful. He leaned back, closed his eyes for a second. Because he knew he didn't have a choice anymore. Okay, he said quietly. And just like that, everything shifted. Not because I forced it, but because he finally understood. Without me, there was nothing left to protect. A week later, the announcement was made. In front of the entire company. Ryan stood there, same place he used to control everything. But this time, his voice was different. We made changes, he said. And then, he did something I never expected. He looked at me, in front of everyone, and said, this company wouldn't exist without him. Silence. Real silence. Because the truth finally had a voice. I didn't smile, didn't react. Because this wasn't about validation. It was about balance. And for the first time since everything happened, things were balanced again. If someone you trusted took everything you built, would you walk away forever? Or come back and take it all back like I did? Comment, walk away, or come back.